All right, Joanne, when you're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to a meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. Today is Wednesday, August 19th, and it is 3:30 p.m. As a preliminary matter, I am, again, Joanne Geneva, the chair of the Board of Library Trustees. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Aidan Heffernan.
Present.
Heather Dennis.
Present.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Betsy Perry.
Present.
Shannon Duffy.
Present.
At this time, we have no other speakers on the agenda for today's meeting. This open meeting of the Board of Library Trustees is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the library trustees are convening via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website, unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I, the chair, notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay, now that we've gotten through that, we can begin with our agenda for today. which starts with our previous meeting minutes. So we have our minutes from Wednesday, July 15th, 2020, that we need to go over. And if anyone has any comments, questions, remarks, anything that they need to question or change, I'll give you a couple of minutes to look at the minutes before I call your name for comments. I do have one comment myself, which is at the top of the minutes. It states library trustee meeting minutes from Wednesday, August 15th, 2020. So that needs to be amended to state that it was July, not August.
Yep, sorry about that. I'll change it.
Okay. Other than that, Heather, do you have any comments or changes?
No. Everything.
Aiden, do you?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, I'm good with the minutes as they're written, except with the noted change to July, which they were July.
Okay. Shannon?
I'm good.
And Betsy?
Good.
All right. So I will make a motion to accept the meeting minutes with one change, which is to change the date from August 15th to July 15th. Can I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All right. Again, we have to do a voice vote. So all in favor, Heather?
I'm in favor.
Aiden?
I'm in favor.
And I too am in favor, which means the meeting minutes pass unanimously. So at this time, we can move on to the Youth Services Report, and that is all yours, Shannon.
Okay, hi, Shannon here. So, I had one professional development webinar in July. It was basically talking about hosting trivia nights online, virtually. It's an interesting concept. I don't know if it's something that will pick up too early in the fall, just because I feel like people are going to be screened out by the time we get that rolling, but it's something to look at in the future. I don't know. It was interesting. So in July, we had 18 virtual kids programs. We estimate that we had about 136 attendees. We had 4 in-person programs, and that is because I've been going to the school each week for summer care. So that's a very strictly controlled situation, but they do let me come in and do that. So that's fun. So we've had about 70 in-person attendance for July. We held a second make and take program for the Art of Science, which was paid for with our LSTA grant. We did ecosystems and we made terrariums. We made 25 kits. We had 58 craft kits, just sort of whatever we felt like doing, paper crafts mostly for July. And then summer reading ended July 31st. We had 186 participants, which wasn't bad considering this was our first year completely online. And, you know, I didn't get to go to the school and do all of the normal advertising that we did. And we didn't get any of that walk-in traffic that we normally do, like, oh, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to do it too? We had 68 children, 47 teens, and 71 adults participate. The very last prize was just picked up today, so yay, those are all done. Upcoming programs, we're continuing on with Baby Story Time, happening every Tuesday on Facebook Live at 10:30. We also have a regular story time every Wednesday at 10:30 on Facebook Live, and we're continuing with the Deb Hudgens videos, which are released every Thursday at 10:30. For tweens and teens, we had 54 adult/teen crafts for the month of July. There's no way for me to track what the percentage of adults is and what the percentages of teens are, just because they're left out and you can take them at will. And I don't know when like a parent is picking it up for a teen or anything like that, but. And that's all. Questions and concerns?
Thank you, Shannon. I have one question on the July craft kits. People
Yeah.
do not have to sign up in advance for them. They are just available in the lobby until they're gone, correct?
Correct. So that's why I've separated out the take and make LSTA one, because those you do have to sign up for. But just the craft kits are just sort of out in the lobby and you can come by and pick them up.
Okay, thank you. Heather, do you have any comments or questions for Shannon?
Just a comment that the craft kits are wonderful. I know a lot of people that are housebound and are not able to come to the library receiving craft kits and love them, absolutely love them. So keep those up as long as we can. Those are great.
Well, yeah, Betsy is showcasing what we're going to be doing in the future.
And Aidan, do you have any comments or questions for Shannon?
Nope, I'm good at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. Unless you have anything more to add, we'll go on to Betsy's director's report.
Okay. So I did a couple of virtual meetings. We did have department heads in person, very spaced out at the senior center. But as far as other in-person meetings, the select board wants everybody to continue meeting via Zoom. So that's that. The special collection symposium was really interesting. It was like really long though, so it's hard to focus when you're staring at the screen and trying to do other stuff. But it was really cool because I kept telling Shannon about like what the guy was saying. So that was neat. Let's see. We had executive committee and then a director's discussion on racism, which is one of CWMR's goals, is to start talking about bias and racism probably at least once a month. So there's that. So I went to the first one of that. That was last week. My program numbers are slightly wrong there, and I don't know why I bothered putting zeros for August because the month is only half over. But we did actually have, Pam had our book groups outside on the common in July, very well spaced. So we did actually have one adult program in July with 13 people. So I'll fix that for the meeting minutes, goodness. We're still trying to find programs to fulfill the Osterman Family Grant by the end of the year. Working on that. Let's see. The Friends had an outside socially distant meeting. I did not go. Pam went, but I don't know what they're planning, if anything, because there's not much they can do right now. Let's see. We got the official grant notification for the Townwide Preservation Grant, as well as all the contract paperwork. So I signed that. I had one thing that Jim signed, and we sent that back. We're waiting the countersigned copies from the Board of Library Commissioners. And then that starts officially October 1st. So that's rolling. I talked to the Historical Society briefly, just because they were looking for a report for their directors meeting. I told them that we had gotten it, but it doesn't start yet. So that's that. Probably after I get the contracts back, or probably in September, I'll see what they have for a meeting and go to that. We still need to do a 5-year long range plan, but again, not till next year. So we have time still to think about that. Let's see. And so for July, we had a total of 281 separate pickup packages, and we did 31 home deliveries. Since we opened, which will be a month tomorrow, so July 20th, for walk-in traffic, we've seen a significant drop in curbside pickups. We do maybe 3 to 5 a day. And we're still doing a couple home deliveries a week. Like we have at least 3 this week. But the average is probably about 6. So that's that. And there's people who just want to continue to do curbside, which is totally fine. I don't blame them. Just reach in, grab your bag and go. So that's that. But I think the initial glut of when we were open, everybody was so excited for it, has kind of waned, and the weather's been reasonably nice and people are maybe going away. So that's that. But we'll get to statistics, but July statistics were not as terrible as I thought they might be. So, and we are tracking daily attendance. It's averaging between 30 and 40 people most days. So it's steady. It's not crazy, but it's steady. So, and we are planning on, so September starts on a Tuesday, which is fine, to open back up from 10 to 6 weekdays and 10 to 3 Saturdays. I think we're comfortable with that given the amount of traffic we've had so far. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. But continue doing everything else that we are currently doing. We'll still offer curbside and home delivery. We're spending a fair amount of time talking about what we can do for families and kids. With everything's going to be remote for the schools. So if you have any suggestions on that, we're trying real hard to not do too much screen stuff, but that's about all we can do. So we're going to try to go really more heavy on the craft kits and stuff. And Shannon's talking maybe some paint nights where we'll have kits that we'll have people pick up ahead of time. They can attend the Zoom paint night with Shannon, but she'll tape it. So if they can't do it that night or don't want to, they can do it afterwards. But we're thinking people are going to need those kind of soft things that they would get in school that they might not get elsewhere, like art, music, any type of gym, which we're not sure what we can do there. I'm hoping we'll see an uptick in pleasure reading for the kids, seeing as they won't be able to get pleasure reading books from the school libraries. You just don't know. It's a complete unknown. I'm going to try to do a survey. I think also people are surveyed out right now, especially parents. But one library shared theirs, which I thought was pretty good, and we can adapt to see what kinds of things people are actually looking for from us. I just don't know.
I think you're doing an amazing job trying to get things out there and make library materials available to our patrons when this is also unknown for everybody and it's also uncharted. So great work. I love the idea of the paint nights. Adults might love those too. So, even consider doing 1 or 2 that's could be done as families or just as adults. One question I had, as far as the family literacy grant goes, have they talked at all about extending it based on COVID or changing any of the rules? Or
When I submitted our mid-year report, I didn't get anything back from them. I just said we were working, what we had spent so far and, what we were hoping to do with the rest of it, but I didn't hear anything back from them. And they're not usually heavy on the communication. So we'll see. But because a lot of the money I have left is sign language classes, which I guess actually could be online. I just have to find a teacher who's set up to doing that. And if they're not even around here, it doesn't matter because if it's all online, it's fine.
Right.
And civic literacy, I still have some cooking class money, but we have at least one of those coming up and I have a lead on some more teachers. So I'm looking at the list is up there, which is why I'm looking up that way. We are going to do another Apple Tree Arts sessions this fall because they're all set up for that. Shannon's already talking to them about that. And so that will hopefully spend most of it. So the only thing that unless we can find an online ukulele teacher, that one I'm not sure about. Might have to spin that into something else.
Jan Barlow might be interested or might be, no, she said no.
Nope, she said no
Months
months ago.
Okay.
Because we would have done it, had booked her for like June for actual ukulele classes, and then it didn't happen. So I
Oh,
was like, do you do online? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay.
Have you checked with her more recently? Because, maybe that's changed after being trapped in the house for a while.
It didn't seem like she was going to change her mind. But now they've got a new president or executive officer over there. So maybe they'll have somebody else too. I don't know. I just saw that on Facebook, I think, that they had a new person in charge of the whole shebang. So,
well, there's always line dance classes online if we get desperate.
that's true. That's not a bad one. Basic ballroom dancing.
Ballroom, you need a partner for. Line, you don't. And line is a lot easier than going for belly dancing or tap.
True. Very true. But yeah, we continue. So I'm still doing in April-ish, I was going to do busy bags for teenagers who are like babysitters, but then also parents. So I finally got all that stuff together and we've been sending those out, but it's tricky because they have to have the laminators, they have to have a library card, we have to check it out, which is why we're glad we're not doing all the craft kits as checkouts because it's a lot of back and forth. But we've got a nice lineup for fall. Like we said, we're doing these, which are very nice. And you get 2 in a bag to make. And we had done these guys as leprechauns for that, but we were already gonna do them for Christmas gnomes.
Oh,
So that's an easy one. Most of what we're spending money on is glue, because we can't send glue guns because of the whole checking out thing and it's a pain. But we found the cutest little tubes of E6000, which will glue pretty much anything. So we've been using those and they're not so bad. And that's about the only expense that we're spending on most of this stuff because we had because we had our crafts planned out for the year. So, but people take them as fast as we can make them, if not faster. So that's that. So yeah, I guess I don't have anything else. It's been pretty peaceful here. So it's good. It's the best we can say. I haven't heard any indication of anybody else around us thinking about opening. Some other libraries a little further afield, like Holden and Paxton, were talking about maybe thinking, well, actually, Holden had posited the question this morning, looking for more information about opening, and Paxton was like, they're not opening anytime soon. So people still aren't even thinking about it. So, and we're seeing a few people from other towns, but it's not overwhelming, certainly, but they are very grateful to come in. And we're seeing people who've never been here who come in from other towns, as well as our regulars from other towns. So.
and the staff still feels safe and okay with being open?
I think so. I think we're pretty good. Everybody's taking turns sitting at the little table if we need them to. But no, patrons have been great about masks and sanitizing their hands. We've once come close to actually having our limit of 10 patrons. And that's usually if we end up with like 2 or 3 families at a time when we come close. But other than that, it's not so many people at once.
I would definitely encourage you to continue advertising on the website and even the Sutton site, that the library is open, what the hours are, and also that curbside pickup, modified curbside pickup is still available, as well as in-person pickup. so that people know they can still take advantage of the curbside if they're nervous about going in. And Betsy, if we're all set to the point of statistics, I will ask, let's see, Heather, do you have any comments or questions for Betsy at this time?
Yeah, I did. Has the school reached out to you at all for requests for help, or really? No?
No, I think they're so worried about trying to get everything in line in their own house.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to them probably a little later, but they have so many,
Sure.
so I can't even fathom how many moving parts that they have.
I'm wondering, because they're going to be mostly, they're going to be in person the first 2 weeks, with each group coming in 2 days for the first, if that would be, a good time, if possible, for you to have some sort of, presentation and let them know what services you can offer them for their learning and stuff, especially as they're going to be pretty much mostly online, at least for, into the foreseeable future. I mean, I think, maybe the school's just not thinking about it or whatever, but I think that would be really helpful for all the students, because that's what they're doing the first 2 weeks. It's really an orientation period, getting to know their teachers, getting to use online products and stuff. And with the library saying, hey, we're a resource too, and here's what we can offer you. That could be helpful. I don't know. And then the other thing that I thought of is that as the students, are going to be back home and everything, I don't know if the library could provide, some type of, side teaching as far as, seeing, okay, what are the fifth graders learning in science, and then kind of working in like some type of, like the craft kits, a hands-on science experiment activity, that maybe it could even be synchronous, where the students can all come pick up their kits, and then, 3 o'clock on Wednesday or whatever, a librarian could come on and everyone would be on the internet and, doing the science experiment together or whatever, or even asynchronous, where you just get the kit with instructions and it, corresponds to whatever the student is learning in their science class. Because I'm not sure, how much of that the school's going to provide. I know they're really scrambling right now, but, I don't know, things like that.
Those are great ideas that we hadn't necessarily thought of.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and plus everybody's going in different directions too, because you have people now who are going homeschool, by themselves. People are going homeschool with a curriculum. People who are going private school.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm trying to think about how we can, because at least there's a lot of homeschool resources out there.
Mhm.
But see how we can do that. Good.
Okay, Aiden, do you have any questions or comments for Betsy?
At the moment, no. I mean, I like the idea of potentially working with the school department to have our crafts kits correspond with and will back up some of the learning that the different teachers and students are trying to participate. And I
Aiden,
think
excuse me, it's very difficult to hear you. You're kind of, you might need to get either closer to your mic or something, because it's very muffled from here.
what I was saying was I thought it was a great idea that we reach out to the school and ask them what their science projects and or other education projects are going to be, so that the craft kits that we're putting out will back up or reinforce the learning. I thought that was a wonderful idea, and I think that's something we should actively pursue to help out in this current trying time. Other than that, I had no real comments. I thought it was well thought out.
Hey, thank you. Betsy, if you want to either comment or move on to statistics
All
right
right,
now,
Lily.
please.
Go on to the numbers. So July was actually, as far as physical things, we did almost exactly 50% of last year, which I was surprised by when I saw it at the end, and I'm, I guess, pleased with it. As pleased as we can be. So that's good. And August is on track to be about 50% of last year too. So it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad considering what it is. Overdrive, sorry, it's kind of tiny. Overdrive was very strong. So 940 for July. And it's up there for August. It's not that great for August. But it continues to be strong. I'm spending more money on overdrive stuff than I ever have, trying to like look at what's got a lot of holds on it and buying more copies of that. So that helps. You want to, does anybody have questions on the circ numbers before we go to the money?
Okay, Heather, do you have any questions?
No, no questions.
Aiden?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, you can move on to money, Betsy.
All right, so this is actually the end of year FY20 budget. I just thought you might want to see it because probably wasn't completely closed the last time we met. So it came out pretty good. Yeah, we were at 100% in all the things. We were like pennies over in some of those, actually the salary lines, which doesn't make any sense, but it comes out even, so it's fine. And we gave back $1,400 in books. So we'll still meet our minimum appropriation requirement that we had to spend for it. So that's fine. Because the Board of Library Commissioners didn't care about anything that happened between the middle of March and the end of June. They still haven't said anything about this year, like as far as hours and whatever, but I'm anticipating they're going to do that sometime soon. So like I said, this is up till June 30th, and then this is the July 1. So we're on track so far. We're a little bit up in part-timers from having so many people here all the time to make sure that we have somebody on the little check-in desk there. But that will hopefully even out a little bit in September. And we'll spread everybody out a little bit more. So it should be fine. We've spent half of the office supply money, which always goes fast. 22% of the books and periodicals, all of our CW Mars money, of course. That's about it. So there's nothing unexpected in there. This is the end of year gift account, which I don't think there were actually I don't think there were any changes from last year, or from June 30th to now, which is actually, I think you don't have a current gift because it won't let me print it if there's no changes in it. Hang on one sec. I actually wrote the balances down and put them aside. So the gift balance is $1,281.52. Which is pretty healthy for the gift. We continue to not spend any money out of it. We haven't spent any money out of it in 8 months. So that's good. We're slowly building it back up. We're not taking hardly any money now. Of course, we're waiving all fines. We're taking a little money for copies and faxes if people give it to us. We're not really charging them for copies, but sometimes means they give you money anyway, so that's fine. We did get a nice check, I haven't put it in yet, from Better World Books, who we send some of our discards or donations to. And it's like been 2 years since they sent us a check, so we finally got $200, so that'll go in there. But that's fine, and we don't have anything that's promised to spend out of this account, so that can continue to just grow for the foreseeable future. So this is the LSTA STEM grant. Shannon's been diligently planning how to spend the rest of that down by the end of September. She's got 5 weeks left. And the balance in there is $1,786.51. So she's getting there. Don't give me that face. It's got a whole lot of stuff coming from Amazon. Okay. So that's that. This is the Osterman Family Foundation. Only change since last month is we paid Colin for the couple cooking classes he did for us. So the balance in this one is $6,675.89. This is state aid as of the end of the year. And it's like 3 pages long, so bear with me. Because we've spent so many little tiny amounts out of that. So that was it at the end of the year. And then we're going to go to what we spent this year out of state aid so far. And the balance in state aid is $7,888.81. And so most of what we keep buying is craft supplies and Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. I keep ordering it from Staples whenever we do a Staples order. Some of it's back ordered, but it just keeps coming in dribs and drabs. So we have a decent stockpile because I anticipate probably at some point it's going to become unavailable again. So I feel better safe than sorry in having it. And hopefully maybe someday some of it will be reimbursed by the COVID fund. I'm not sure. And also we spent, I can't move my mouse to show you, this $212 there is for a program called Library Help, which is software that we can put on the public computers when we reopen that room. And we'll be able to, from like the computers at the desk, look at, they can request help and we can look at their screen. And I haven't experimented with it yet, but we should be able to look at their screen and help them from a distance so that you're not standing right over somebody trying to help them on the computer. So we figured it was like $200 we'll spend so that you didn't have to be in close contact and touching the keyboard or mouse and breathing other people's air. So we'll have that set up whenever we do go to open the computers. Only this week was the first time that actually we had somebody looking to use the computers, but there's too much stuff in that room and it would be difficult to clean it and everything. But it has not been a great demand. The biggest has been photocopying and faxing. So I think that's the end of the money. Oh, that's the end of actually what's there. Yeah, that's the end of the money. So actually I'll leave it up if anybody has any questions about that before I make it go away.
All right, I have no questions. Heather, do you have any questions?
No, no questions.
How about you, Aiden?
No questions. Thank you very much, Betsy.
Okay, Betsy, you can move on. Is there anything else that you need to share with us on money or statistics at this point? And Betsy, you are muted.
I know, I'm trying to find the right button. No, we're good on money and statistics, I think. I have no idea what's happening with state aid this year, if or when we'll get an amount and how much it will be. So I haven't heard anything from the Board of Library Commissioners about that. And it's possible that they just don't know how much they will have. So let's see.
All right, well, just keep us posted when you do know.
Yeah.
All right. You are at my next comment, which is our new and old business. So our historical context statement. Hopefully all of the trustees have had a chance to look this over. And Betsy, if you can remind everyone of the reason behind writing something like this up.
Okay. So we had a resident contact us that there was a group who had looked through all the old yearbooks that we have posted on our site. We had them all scanned, the copies that we have here, and also we had borrowed some from people and had them scanned by the Boston Public Library and put up. And there is some offensive material in there. It's spread amongst the years and it's different things. And so obviously, we understand now that that's not acceptable behavior, which is what was brought to our attention. So this is a statement that, the library doesn't censor. We're continuing to make it available, but historical materials can contain offensive language. but need to be viewed in the context of the time period in which they were created, not in the context of current times. Does that cover it?
Okay, thanks, Betsy. And one thing I noticed that I want to bring to everyone's attention is the third paragraph. Because if this document is going to become a standing policy for the library that we would vote into effect, then paragraph 3 being just about the one question that we received on the yearbooks, that paragraph would have to be deleted because it's in the context of that one question, not in the context of an overall policy. So at this point, if anyone else has comments, questions, anything, we can start with Heather.
I didn't get to review like what was considered like the offensive language or negative stereotypes. Would you definitely say that that's what it was, or do you think at all it could have be construed as going beyond that to like overtly racist?
I can kind of give some background on that because I was working at the high school at the time of the events that were called into question, which was, I know one of them was a student-based or student council-based, they would auction off members of the student council to be people's servants for the day. So other students or faculty would pay money that would go into the student council account to do events for the school, for the students in the future. And then the student council member would have to carry the books of the other students, or if a teacher had won the auction, that student might have to help the teacher clean up the classroom after school or whatever. And the problem is they called it a slave auction. So, you know, it is what it is. At the time, it was all in fun. It wasn't considered something that was to point out the historical significance of slavery or to continue that. So that's a little background on it. And I don't know if that answers your question, Heather, but that's what was going on. And so there are a few pictures of it in the yearbook stating that it's the student council slave auction.
Okay. And my only other question was, is there anyone that needs to like review this statement? I'm just thinking like, you know, like, do we have like a town lawyer or anything, or HR or anything that would, you know, officially review it and make any changes before it was released? I was just thinking, especially from the perspective of just Betsy wrote it, that she would be protected in case, you know, to make sure that everything's correct in the statement. I mean, it looks good to me, but I didn't know if it needed to, or if there was any procedure for it to be taken further where it's, you know, looked over and made sure that it is followed for Betsy's like protection, I guess.
Betsy, do you want to address that at all? I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea, but your comments?
I can certainly send it to Jim to send to town council, but I think it's fine, and you guys have the right, because you oversee all the operations, to make your statement on this part. You know, I talked to it to the superintendent and the principal about it too. And this was the way that they felt more too. And they said, you know, to check with other libraries and see what they were doing, which I did. So this seemed, you know, because I felt like seeing as it is something that's produced at the school, they were the closest party to it. But yeah, I think it's fine. You guys have complete authority over our policies and stuff like that. So that's good.
Thank you.
Joanne, you're still muted.
When I was at the school and had to write a similar policy for the school, the middle and high school libraries, this very much parallels the policy that we had there, with the exception that at the schools, we stated that parents would be the ones to decide what was appropriate for their own children. From the public library's perspective, it is not the library's policy to do anything about censoring materials. So this does follow the Library Bill of Rights by the American Library Association. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's well written. Aidan, do you have comments?
Going back to the legality of it, I believe your paragraph 4 references that this is actually,
Aidan, again, you got to get closer to your mic. Sorry about that.
well, the thing that bothers me is I'm sitting in front of the mic, I'm turning my head to talk to another mic because the first one isn't working. But that's beside the point. What I'm saying here is basically your paragraph 4 is highlighting the fact that this is a statement that's very similar to what has been adopted by libraries everywhere anyways, because what we're saying is we're not in the business of, you know, taking away any of the things that were historically done. We're not going to limit the content. It's up to the individual patrons to choose what they want to read in the Library of Historical Documents. My question for clarification, which was raised earlier, are we saying we need to remove paragraph 3? Or are we leaving paragraph 3 in, which is we wish to thank the alumni? Because I really don't think we want to thank anybody, because this is a, you know, highlights a particular incident where something was found to be in the historical documents that may have been offensive to somebody. And we don't need to thank anybody or reference it, but we do need to point out that we have a policy in place that we're not going to remove historical documents that were published at one time from our collection.
What my proposal was that we would remove paragraph 3 for the reasons that you just stated.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right, and I agree with that statement. I think the current paragraph 4 highlights that this is, you know, been reviewed by other legal entities, and it is what is being, you know, basically used in a very similar format to protect the library and state that we're not, you know, removing historical content. So I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, Betsy, do you have anything to add to the discussion?
Nope, nope. If we want to take that out, that's fine. You guys, if you want to approve it as, you know, written with the subtraction of that paragraph, that works.
Okay. In that
Yeah,
case,
it just,
I will make a motion to accept the historical context statement as written with the deletion of the sentence that comprises paragraph 3. I will need someone to second the motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, we will then take a voice vote on that. Heather?
I approve.
Aidan?
I approve.
I also will vote yes, which means that the historical context statement is unanimously approved with the deletion of paragraph 3. Do we have any other new or old business?
No, we need to make a meeting date for September.
We also are, as far as library closure dates, the library is going to be closed for Labor Day, I would take it, because
That
we
will be
haven't
closed
gone over that.
the Saturday and the Monday like we normally do.
Okay,
So the whole weekend, because there probably won't be any traffic. So, yep, the 5th and the 7th. So late.
okay. And as far as our next meeting goes, I'm looking at a calendar for September. And it would put our meeting, would we say around the 23rd? Or do we want to go with the third week?
Either way.
How does the 23rd look for everyone?
Clear.
Heather?
23rd would work. 23rd would work for me.
Okay, thank you, Aiden. How about you, Heather?
It would probably work. I'm kind of I work for another school system, and you know, it's kind of in flux about how everything's gonna be handled, but at this time it looks good.
Okay. Is there a time of day that, I mean, does the 3:30 time period work? Would anybody prefer the 4 o'clock? Would that make it easier for your school system, Heather?
Either time should be okay, 3:30 or 4.
Betsy and Shannon? Either time? How about you, Aiden?
I don't have a preference. It really depends on what happens next month, if I get an emergency meeting or not. So, no.
Right. Okay, so we're going to say that our next trustees meeting is September 23rd, 3:30.
I'll second it.
I don't think we have to vote on
You
that
don't
one.
have to vote. I'm just saying, yeah, I agree. That works.
Okay. Anything else we need to do before we adjourn?
Line dance?
That's coming as soon as Shannon gets it ready. We'll sample it at the next meeting. All right. In that case, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Heather?
In favor? Yep.
Aiden?
Agree.
I do too. So our meeting is adjourned at approximately 4:23.